Okay, I am late. I am very late today. Uh, I had a technical snafu and I was ready to, I was so convinced I had done everything right that I refused to believe that it didn't work. Couldn't find the video on Facebook, but I just kept doing it anyway. I kept looking, just assuming it was fine, and put away all the camera and all the stuff. I was ready to go to lunch and all of these things until I realized, no, it really didn't show up on Facebook. I just sat here and talked to myself for 20 minutes, which is not unusual, but is not the goal of today. And then right before I was ready to restart, I was still sitting here hating this computer, hating that camera, and wondering why they do these things to me. And then I realized it was 100% my mistake. I put today's episode live on my personal Facebook page. Did not mean to do that. Will be deleting it. And I don't want to direct you guys over there because it's weird. You came here to hear about the library from the librarian. We're going to do it on the library's page. But obviously, I have to redo it now. So, hello, and welcome to the very late Tea and New Book Tuesday. It was supposed to start 40 minutes ago, but it's starting now. All right, so let's share screen so you can see my slides and you will get to see what the books look like. There we go. So, Tea and New Book Tuesday for March 2nd. I may end up talking real fast because I've already done this. To keep it interesting, I'll just do it faster. For today, we're going to go over April hits. So these are the books I think are most likely to have like more holds than checkouts and to be super popular the minute they arrive. Normally, I do this by getting a preview of the new book flyer. I wasn't able to do that this time because we're actually even further ahead than we normally are. So the new book flyer drafts weren't ready. I will get a look at those within the next week or two. And if there are some titles on there that I didn't mention today, I may add them to a discussion, like little bloggy thing on Goodreads, on our Goodreads Tea and New Book Tuesday group. So look out for that. If it doesn't show up, then that means I covered most of what ends up on the new book flyers. All right, moving along. Would like to announce that West Regional's patio story time is back for anybody who would like a story time. It's Wednesday and Thursday at 11 o'clock. You're being encouraged to register because social distancing means we don't have a ton of room. And if you want to bring a blanket or drink or anything like that, then go ahead and do so. You see most of the people here brought their blankets. And you'll hear songs and stories and all sorts of good stuff. For today's giveaway, the first time in a while, we actually have a book that isn't out yet. It is Other People's Children by R.J. Hoffmann. Comes out April 6th. This is Hoffmann's first book. I'm hearing that it's very good. It's about motherhood and family. That's what I'm told. So I'm giving away to two different people. I'm not going to give the same book to one person twice. If you would like to win, write I want to win in the comments and add your MPL location for pickup. I'll pull the winner on Friday. All right. First up, let's do nonfiction. Okay. You guys have already heard me talk about this. Jenny Lawson's Broke in the Best Possible Way. I reviewed it back when I read it in the fall. Cannot recommend it highly enough. If you want a really funny and insightful take on chronic illness, anxiety and depression, and just generally living in this world, then seek out Jenny Lawson. If you've never read her stuff, I actually think maybe you should read Let's Pretend This Never Happened first. But Broke in the Best Possible Way is also very good and very insightful. If you're a fan of Jenny Lawson, you'll recognize some of the content here. She has reused blog posts as some of these essays, but the most insightful stuff is original to this book. We are getting it in audiobook as well, and it will come out April 6th. All right, World Travel, An Irreverent Guide by Anthony Bourdain and Lori Woolliver. So this is being billed as, how to travel like Anthony Bourdain. This was not in the works before Bourdain passed away. So some of the early readers are kind of finding it a little meh, or they're a little disappointed, and I wanted to be frank with you about that before you pick it up. I think if you're a fan of his, you'll probably still want to pick it up and leaf through it, but it's snippets that were written by him, added in together into a book with other material provided by other travel writers, and at least one essay written by his brother about traveling with Anthony, which that alone I think is worth reading. But if you're a fan of Anthony Bourdain and you would like to check out this book, it comes out April 20th. So far, there's no plans to buy the audiobook, but we'll see. All right. Blood and Treasure, Daniel Boone and the Fight for America's First Frontier by Bob Drury and Tom Clavin. So this is an exhaustively researched portrait of Daniel Boone, obviously, but they're trying to break out of the sort of simplistic legend in the silly hat Daniel Boone and give you a greater sense of sort of the flesh and blood human being and the things he did and the things he engaged in as America pushed west. Which, fair warning, I think this is going to be relatively violent because there was a lot of violence at the time. But if you're interested in this book, a handful of early readers have given it a pretty positive reviews. We're also getting it on audiobook, and it comes out April 20th. All right, let's move on to fiction. Fiction times. All right. Animal Instinct, a KT novel by David Rosenfeld. This feels like a mystery novel in the midst of an identity crisis because the cover says cozy mystery to me, and it is a group of retired cops and a retired police dog solving crimes. I think they're PIs. And the whole solving a crime with your dog thing feels very cozy mystery, but this particular volume also deals with domestic violence because the victim experienced that. So that's not usually a cozy mystery topic. To be fair, I don't read a ton of cozy mysteries, so maybe I'm not giving them enough credit, and that is genuinely a thing that has appeared in cozy mysteries before. Either way, I love the cover because it looks like the German Shepherd, who I think is supposed to be like the retired police dog, appears to be grilling the French bulldog, who also has a handcuff hanging from his paw. So adorable. If you're interested in Animal Instinct, we are getting it. Are we getting a large print? Yes, we are also getting it in large print and in audio, and it comes out April 6th. Okay, Anne Hillerman Stargazer. This is another one in this series. In this volume, it deals with the death of an astronomer, and the clues lead the investigators to the Navajo Nation. This entire series is set in the Southwest, and I get the impression it has a very strong sense of place. So if you're interested in that sort of wide open skies, are they a desert? I feel like they're fairly deserty. Then this might be worth checking out. And if you're a fan of Hillerman, then obviously it's worth checking out. The early reviews did come from diehard fans, but they loved it. So that's at least somewhat of a recommendation. It is also going to be available in large print and audio, and it comes out April 13th. All right, John Samford, Ocean Prey. This is another series book, and it centers around beloved investigators, in this case, Lucas Davenport and Virgil Flowers. In this mystery, a off-duty Coast Guardsman is leisure boating with his family when he sees something that strikes him as very suspicious. It's a speedboat that comes, and they're out in the ocean, by the way, a speedboat that shows up and picks up a diver that just surfaced all by himself. No other boats anywhere nearby. This leads to a Coast Guard investigation that gets 3 of their officers killed, which brings in Davenport and Flowers to investigate. A handful of early reviews were really happy with this book. If you're a fan of Sanford or if you're reading this series, it's probably worth checking out. We are getting it in large print and audio. Comes out April 13th. All right. Turn a Blind Eye. Again, another series that's centering around the investigator. In this case, the investigator is William Warwick. The book takes place in London and is written by a British author, which a lot of mystery wants to go British, probably because of the masters of the genre are Agatha Christie and Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. But in this case, it is a British author writing about a British investigator, which I think always lends itself a little more nuance and complexity. But at any rate, in this book, he is investigating dirty cops. If you're interested, we're getting it in large print and audio, and it comes out April 13th. All right. David Baldacci's A Gambling Man. This is, I think, book 2 in a series that's about a straight-talking, tough guy who's a World War II veteran, set in the 1840s. The main character's name is Aloysius Archer. I think he just calls him Archer most of the time. But Archer decides to try his luck out in California. He stops in Reno and gambles because he's a gambling man, and wins some money and meets a girl, and she wants to be an actress, so they decide to do the rest of the trip together. They get there, and the promised land of glitz and glamour is not what it seems, what they thought it was going to be. It seems to be covering up a whole lot of greed and corruption and leaning on the residents' worst fears and addictions. He gets work as a PI, and he immediately gets involved in a case investigating a dirty politician who's running for mayor. The whole thing feels very noir. Flawed protagonist, 1940s California, LA setting, and the city that looks one way on the surface, but is completely corrupt and greedy underneath. It's all kind of all my kind of thing, because I love noir. But if you're interested in this, or you're a fan of Baldacci, or you're reading this series, we are getting it large print and in audio. I didn't put large print up here, and now I have to look every time and be like, and large print? Yes, and large print. It comes out April 20th. All right, so this is the sort of book, I need to give myself a minute, that this is why I do this show, because I feel like this is going to have a lot of holds on it even before the new book flyers come out. And we'll probably not see the new book shelf for a few months because so many people are going to want to get their hands on it. It's Jocelyn Jackson's Mother May I. This is about Bree, who grew up in rural Georgia. She ended up marrying into a family with money, but she has ended up with kind of an idyllic life. Her husband adores her. She has 2 talented teenage daughters and an infant baby son. And then one morning she wakes up and she thinks she sees a woman watching her sleep from outside, like through the window. But it's very brief, like it's just a second. So she kind of thinks, well, maybe I dreamed it, or it was a waking dream, or she just dismisses it. It's not a thing. But then later she's dropping her daughters off at school and she thinks she sees the woman again in the parking lot. And then her infant son disappears from his car seat in like the blink of an eye. And in his place is a piece of paper with instructions on what she needs to do in order to get him back. This is a hugely popular author, especially here. She's a bestseller. She's an award winner. If you're interested in this book, I really think you should put it on hold now. Like, while I'm talking, open another tab, put it on hold, because it's going to be popular. It comes out April 6th. We are getting the large print and the audio as well. Okay, When the Stars Go Dark. This is by Paula McLean. It's by a detective who was living in San Francisco named Anna Hart, and then she experiences some personal tragedy. So she decides to go back to the small town where she lived with her beloved foster parents when she was young. While she's there trying to heal, a young girl goes missing, and it reminds her of a case from when she was a kid. She begins to believe that in some ways her life has led to this, and that she is uniquely qualified. She has a unique knowledge, I should say, as to how victims come in contact with violent predators. Several hundred early readers have already read this book and liked it. It has an over 4-star rating on Goodreads right now. It sounds really good. If you're interested, and we're getting the large print and the audiobook as well, and it comes out April 13th. All right. The Good Sister by Sally Hepsworth. Once again, from the outside, everything looks idyllic. In this case, Fern and Rose seem to be the perfect twins. Ultra close, but the truth, of course, is more complicated. One of the reasons they're so close is because one of them had a tendency to protect the other one from their mother, who was a full-on sociopath. It's also because they both keep each other's secrets, and as we'll uncover through the course of the book, are still keeping secrets from each other. This is described as a thriller that's about family and the things that we're willing to do for them. It has the most early reviews of any title I've mentioned today, meaning like over 3,000 ratings. So a ton of people got to read this early. The average score is 4.32 stars, which is, I think, the highest score of today as well. And it is also coming, we're also buying it in large print and in audio. It will come out April 13th. All right. So another very popular author, which the April hits are a lot of popular authors. A Distant Shore by Karen Kingsbury. Eliza got caught in a riptide as a young girl, and Jack dove in to save her. That act changed both of their lives. As adults, Eliza is being arranged to marry a violent man by her father. Jack has become an FBI agent. When they reconnect as adults, sparks fly, and they have to find their way out of this difficult situation. Given that it's Karen Kingsbury, you can expect a certain amount of miracles and things to happen. Kingsbury is being described as America's #1 inspirational storyteller. She is very popular. This is another one you should probably put on hold if you want it. We are getting it in large print and in audio, and it comes out April 27th. All right, for our final thoughts. If you would like to join me on Goodreads, I have put up discussion posts about books that are coming that MPL has pre-ordered, but I didn't have time to put it into the show, including last week. I was really tired, and I think that post might be super weird, or at least the jokes are odd. But if you want to join us on Goodreads, Tea and New Book Tuesday has its own page, its own group, where I list all of these books, and obviously posts about books that I've read and about books that I didn't get a chance to include in the show. So you can join us there. Our community there continues to grow. If you would like to win a copy of Other People's Children, one of the 2 copies, write "I want to win" in the comments and the MPL location that's best for you for pickup. I will pull the winner on Friday. And if you're interested in the MPL pre-orders newsletter, it will include links of all of these books to the catalog so you can put them on hold. I have the address where you can subscribe to that in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, especially since I was so late, you probably had to like hang out and all of a sudden realize I was on or whatever. I don't know what you did, but I'm grateful that you did it. Let me get out there, say thank you, and I'll see you next week. Bye.